coming up. That was the scene last weekend at the famous Heard Museum, Native Art Market, and Fair. We'll take you there. Plus, a dispute over a flag in the South Dakota state capitol, and a look at the future with the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines ahead on the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Support for the ICT Newscast with Aaliyah Chavez comes from the Arizona PBS studios in Phoenix at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Arizona State University.
Hopa. Thank you for joining us. I am Aaliyah Chavez. We start today in Phoenix, Arizona at a Native American fair and art market that has been going strong for more than 65 years. The Heard Museum hosted its 66th annual American Indian Fair and Market. The market boasted more than 600 artists from all over Indian country who stopped by in Phoenix for the two-day event. From jewelry to sculptures, there was something for everyone. As people were shopping and supporting Indigenous artists, there were live performances from bands to traditional dances. We'll have more on the Heard Market tomorrow. We head west now, all the way west, to Attu, one of the Alaskan islands closest to Russia. It was the site of the farthest ancestral repatriation in U.S. history when Indigenous Islander remains were returned from the Smithsonian Institution almost 8,000 miles away. ICT's Jacqueline Estes reports.
Attu villagers historically have had more than their share of troubles. In the mid-1700s, Russian fur traders massacred and brought disease to the Attu Islands and the Unungan people there. The area population dropped from a couple of thousand to 100. Then in 1936, a Smithsonian anthropologist showed up and took the remains of 68 people from local cemeteries. Alice Herdlichka collected skulls from around the world as he unsuccessfully tried to prove white superiority. So Attuan descendant Helena Schmidt was the lead advocate in a 5-year campaign for the return of the remains. She went to Washington, D.C. last summer to prepare the remains for shipping, a trip she said was emotionally draining.
There's nothing that can prepare someone to do this type of work. I had no idea of what I was going to experience. When I arrived, we didn't have like a little ceremony before, and then they showed the remains on like a 5-stack tier of all the remains that were uncovered in boxes, and it's very overwhelming. You have grief, you have joy, you have all the feelings, and you just also have that confusion because you have that kind of like the anger that this happened, you know, to deal with. So
the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service carried the remains to the remote Aleutian Islands in mid-August, where the ancestors were reburied with ceremonies. Just as an aside, a lot of people don't realize that Japan invaded some Aleutian Islands during World War II. They took Attu's 47 residents to a prisoner of war camp in Japan, where half of them died from malnutrition and starvation. So this repatriation effort is one success story after the tragedies since colonial contact. Jacqueline Estes, ICT News, Anchorage, Alaska.
Well, one of the largest land birds in North America could be making its way back to the Pacific Northwest. Condors, or New World vultures, have not been spotted in the Columbia River Basin in over 160 years. The Nez Perce tribe is working to change that. The birds were almost extinct in the 1980s, but in 2016, the tribe won a grant to conduct a condor viability assessment. What it found was suitable habitat in abundance. The tribe hopes to follow the success of Yurok wildlife officials and release captive raised birds within 5 to 7 years. We head now to South Dakota, where there is controversy brewing over a tribal flag displayed in the state capitol. Here's Shirley Snavy.
In South Dakota, the Rosebud Sioux tribe wants its flag back. This after allegations Governor Kristi Noem made to the legislature after her visit to the Texas-Mexico border.
The drugs and human trafficking pouring over the border, they devastate our people. Make no mistake, the cartels have a presence on several of South Dakota's tribal reservations. Murders are being committed by cartel members on the Pine Ridge Reservation and in Rapid City, and a gang called the Ghost Dancers are affiliated with these cartels.
South Dakota Senator Sean Bordeaux is a member of the Rosebud Sioux tribe near the Pine Ridge Reservation.
After the comments about the cartels on the reservations, Rosebud voted to remove their flag. She says it's a gift, and she's proudly displaying the gift in the rotunda in honor of the tribe, even though the tribe said they want their flag back.
Shirley Snavy, ICT News.
Governor Kristi Noem's office told ICT the flag will continue to be displayed. Her office said it reached out to Rosebud officials to offer to work towards solutions to challenges. Across the country, tribes are gaining more say in land use decisions under so-called co-management pacts. The idea is spreading among federal and state agencies. Now, a central database of these pacts makes it easier for tribes to find best practices. Stuart Huntington has more for us.
Federal and state agencies are teaming up with tribes on many fronts, including wildfire and habitat management and support for sustainable hunting and gathering, says Starlin Miller from the Wilderness Society.
I think the Biden administration made co-management, co-stewardship a core component of strengthening the nation-to-nation relationship with tribal nations, including efforts to increase tribal co-stewardship of land and water, incorporating Indigenous knowledge into department work and where appropriate, and preserving and protecting sacred sites around the country, which has opened the door for greater collaboration.
And the practice is booming, says the USDA's Heather Dawn Thompson.
The Forest Service has completely changed the way they do business, and in 3 short years, we now have 180 co-stewardship agreements with tribal nations.
The criticism? The pacts have not consistently created equal partnerships. So the Native American Rights Fund, the Wilderness Society, and the universities of Washington and Montana have teamed up to pool co-management information into one database so tribes can better navigate the details, says NARF staff attorney Ada Montague Steepleton.
Where do we find the statutes? Where do we find the authorizing regulations? Where do we find the directives from the executive agencies, and then all the departmental guidance?
There's a need to create a space for resources, learning, conversation, a community of practitioners on the potential of co-stewardship and co-management tools. There's real opportunity and excitement within Indian country, I think.
At a vital intersection.
The way that we relate to land in this country is a problem. We need to fix it, and co-management and co-stewardship relationships are one way in that direction.
80% of the world's biodiversity are being managed by Indigenous peoples. I think the conservation community sees that Indigenous people and their knowledge are going to help with the climate change issues we're facing today. I think that there's a lot of opportunity on public lands for tribes to rekindle and reconnect with ancestral homelands. So there's a lot of possibility for systems of change right now. And I think that Indigenous voice and leadership has to be at the forefront. They have to be at the table. Nations need to lead the way.
Stuart Huntington, ICT News.
We are all children born of water. It is where all life begins. Water embraces and protects us. We revere it in our homes. We need to live close to water. It nourishes and cleanses us. All living things know this. Sometimes water is gentle and floats in the air. Sometimes water is harsh and powerful. Sometimes it catches the sun's rays. Water changes with the seasons, alive and always moving, even when no one is looking. Water is patient. Water endures. Water brings clarity. Water purifies our thoughts. Water brings us together. Water is holy. Water helps us heal. Water is medicine.
There is new leadership at Portland, Oregon's Native Arts and Cultures Foundation. Yakima Nation citizen Shyla Spicer talks with ICT's Shirley Snavy.
She's been on the job for a couple of months. The Native Arts and Cultures Foundation transitions from its founding CEO, Lulani Arquette. But Shyla Spicer knows the organization and Portland, Oregon.
It's great. There's a lot. There's a lot of amazing things to know and learn, and I'm really just getting some time with my staff, and being back in the Portland community has been amazing. Yeah, it's just there's so much to know, and Lulani's left behind an amazing legacy and body of work that I get to pick up and run with. So I'm excited about getting the chance to do this work. What inspired me the most is being able to work in Native culture and arts, especially in my hometown in Portland. I'm most inspired because my family are artists and storytellers and culture keepers, and being able to support and uplift voices like theirs is incredibly important to me, and I see that's very important to us as Indigenous people.
In 2021, NACF received an amazing gift, a 40,000 square foot building. The Yale Union, a contemporary arts center, gifted the building and its land. Built in 1908, YU was driven to give it to a Native organization as part of the Land Back movement.
Externally, it may look dissimilar. Internally, we hope to find space for the community to be able to utilize it for performing arts, exhibition, gallery openings, performing practices, classes, anything that could eventually be available to our community as they would like to use it from a arts and culture perspective. We are still opening the building out on a monthly basis, working individually with artists, doing panels, and going on community tours. So we're inviting people in to come meet us, come see the building in its true form right now before any renovation happens. And we're currently starting to move into the building. So I think I'm the first, if not the second, employee to actually work in the building itself. So we're really starting to make this space available to our community in Portland. I mean, how exciting to have a space that's defined by us, that's designed for us, and is available to our Native culture keepers. There are some seismic upgrades that need to happen since it's the turn of the century building. So there will be some external modifications from a retrofit perspective. But other than that, yeah, we intend to look at it from a perspective where our community and our artists can come together to be able to share that piece of it within that building. I mean, I'm just getting started with this, but I do believe that we have four kind of key pillars that are very important from a cultural perspective. I think that Native arts and cultures foundation will start to move towards, if not, we haven't already enhanced. But the first one would be social change, being able to uplift these voices that are driving social change. The second one is just Indigenous placekeeping. Now that we're place-based in Portland, Oregon, we have a world headquarters for the center. And that's very exciting for us. And that in that context, just what does historical preservation look like from our perspective and our narrative, I think is incredibly important to be able to share that context, especially in a place like Portland where there's an amazingly tight urban Native community. And then just the environmental stewardship piece of it, the being the caretakers of our place is incredibly important to be able to share that story. And additionally, just the Indigenous cultural consciousness, the additional Native thought that continues to go into our center and the work that we continue to do to uplift our artists and amplify their voices as well. So those are kind of the key 4 pillars that I'm identifying, at least early on in this role, that I think are going to be our biggest focal points going forward.
Shirley Snavy, ICT News.
Language revitalization is a priority for many tribes across Turtle Island. It's what ties them to their sense of place and identity. Almost 10 million people identify as American Indian or Alaska Native, but only 250,000 speak their Indigenous language. ICT wants to do its part in perpetuating the beauty of these Native languages. That's why we've added a regular feature to the newscast. Today we turn to Ute territory to learn more.
Nu Pagavach Aste, which is Ute for I like to speak Ute. Nu is an I, no Pagavach is to speak Ute, and Aste is in to like or to love. Nu Pagavach Aste, I like to speak Ute.
Game. Come on, dude. Alright, bro, I gotta bounce.
Come on, 5 minutes.
Alright, 5 minutes.
The best episode ever, I'm telling you. Cool? Yeah, hands down.
Give me your phone.
For what?
When I tell you to do something, you do it.
Hey, hold up.
Hey, what up, Neff? You okay?
Yeah, I guess.
I've known you since you were eating dirt. What's eating you?
Well, my friend, his girl keeps hitting him and he doesn't do anything about it.
Sounds like an unhealthy relationship. Hey, I'm proud of you for having concern for your friend. Not many people stand up for what's right.
What should I do?
You can talk to him about it. You'll let him know that you saw what you did. Just be there. Listen, if he wants to talk.
Think that'll help?
Only one way to find out. Hey, abuse is not okay.
Hey, Tyson, what's up?
Not much, man.
I saw what happened the other day.
What are you talking about?
I saw what happened between you and Becky. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I kinda do.
Know someone in an unhealthy relationship? Don't back away. Seek advice from someone you trust and look out for one another. After all, we are Native.
In a healthy relationship, I deserve to be loved and safe.
We turn now to Hollywood, where the sounds of Indigenous drums and singing will soon grace the stage at the Academy Awards. Osage songwriter Scott George and his group, the Osage Singers, will perform their Oscar-nominated song from The Killers of the Flower Moon at the ceremony this weekend. Shirley Snavy and Sandra Schulman caught up with George recently.
We had talked about our music and reviewed it. We have several that probably could have delivered the same impact, but they had people's names in them, you know, that were from 200 or 300 years old. And there are still people that today that refer back to those as their relatives. So they weren't appropriate, of course, for that purpose. And so we finally come to the conclusion of that we were going to have to compose our own. And myself and my brother and lifelong friend, Van Big Horse, and even Kenny Big Horse, his brother, we started about the process of trying to do so. And in doing so, traditionally, if you're going to compose a song, we usually go to a prayer in order to get it started and ask for help. And then, you know, our belief is that even the music that we sing over and over and over is just a gift from God, and it didn't really come from us, you know. So we do that first, and then we start the process of trying to figure out what we're going to say in the song, what words we want to use, and we've kind of found that, or I have, that once you put the words that you want in there and start singing it a little bit, they kind of find their own way into the song. And I don't know how that works in regards, and that's probably why they say it's God's way, is that our words have a natural rhythm to it, and they just happen to fit into that rhythm of that type of music. Pretty much wake up every morning with a song in your mind, as long as we've been singing. And so when this process started, I'd be like, "Hey, where'd that come from?" And I'd sing it to myself, and you know, it might take me a while to get it right. And then if I got it right, I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, that's from when I was about 18, somebody sang that, and that was kind of popular back then." So it took a little while, about 2 months, before we finally came up with something. And then my brother Van Big Horse, we're all three consultants on this project, and he composed a song also. So we were both working at the same time trying to do this. There's probably not an understanding outside of us singers what the parts are to the song, you know, and actually how long they last, or what it takes to get to what they wanted to see. They wanted that energy that they saw in our dances. Martin and I think Leo and Lily were all attended our ceremonial dances, and so they saw that energy that we were involved in. But it's not one that you can just sing one song and get there. You know, you kind of build up to it over a course of 4 or 5 songs, and then you throw one in there that you know that captures that energy. So that's kind of what they were looking for. And then what we were trying to do was capture right off at the very beginning. And so that we knew we had to have something that had a lot of energy in it to get started. There was also some a discussion I had the other day. What's the difference between contemporary and traditional music? And so that's where we lean is for traditional music, and contemporary music. We kind of liken that to what's sung at powwows. Like for this song in particular, when this is all over with, we want to use this song, you know, as an honor song in case somebody's called to be a head man or head lady. They can use this song if they don't have a family song to use. There's 2 parts of the song. There's the lead part of it, and then there's 3 what we refer to as honor beats in the middle, and then there comes the tail of the song. And in the tail of the song is where the words are, and the first part is Wajaje noje tilabe. And so we're asking, I'm asking, since I made the song, I'm asking my people to stand up. And then Wakanda Gakabe means that God made it for us. And so when you just translate it literally, it's that simple. That's all it says. When you ask me what I meant by it, I meant that everything that our people have gone through, especially what's depicted in the movie, but even today, we still go through issues and situations that politically and some horrific situations that are still out there. I guess when you talk about the missing Indian women and things of that nature, so we're still going through those things. And so I'm saying that I want my people to stand up, be proud, because God got you this far. We're so appreciative of being gotten this far. It's not something we aspire to do. It's just we just want to contribute to the movie and show our people that we care about them, that we love our people, and that's where we were coming from. And so when this came about, it was like we're speechless. We don't know really how to talk about it, but it's quite an honor.
That is a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.